Good morning, guys. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How's everybody doing? I'm going to share my screen. Somebody give me a sound check. Let me know if the screen is good. Everybody's seeing everything fine? Juan, good morning. How are you? Okay. Good morning, Connie. Good morning, everybody. Hi. Okay, so we're seeing my screens, right? Seeing the Dow right now. I actually want to, it's kind of hard for me to do this. Let me just, I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna see if we can go two screens, if that's gonna make, so this is the Dow. Let me go in here. I'm gonna see if I can adjust this and maybe if we can run this. No, sorry, I'm on the wrong one. Okay, I'm just gonna, give me a second. I'm trying to adjust my screens here because I want to see if we can follow two screens at once. Okay, that's not bad. So you guys can see this. We really don't need this because we're really basically looking at the, I don't know if I can, fit this. Okay, good. All right. I think this is good, right? Everybody can see both screens. Now the question is, how do I overlay this without, let me do this. I wonder if we can just overlay this. I'm trying to really create a super, let's try this again. Okay, so risk wrapper is here. Risk wrapper is here. That should be pretty good. Okay, so I think I got this more or less. So we can, and now we can put this up here and kind of have everything all in one screen, right? We can even tighten this up a little bit. Let me see if I can do this. Okay. Maybe just a little bit longer. Okay. One, two. Oh, okay. Now I gotta just do sizing. Okay, so NDX, we're gonna put 10. And this one, I'm gonna put 5, and that seems to be okay. All right, so I think it's pretty good. I think I can bring that in, bring that out, bring that in. Oh, cool, I can do it this way, okay. All right, good, everybody's seeing the screen, we're kind of organized. We got the software all working. Some of you guys are trading the contest with me, which is great. There's one guy who is just long oil, and that's all he needed to be. He just he's really killing it. So it's, it's interesting to see different strategies, different sizing, all sorts of stuff. I'm going to have an interesting column this week on what I think are going to be the best practices for long-term trading, which I think you guys will find very interesting. But from our perspective, what do we got on the boards today? So looks like a mildly down open, right? As far as the market goes. And, there's basically sort of like two primary strategies that we have going: continuation and mean reversion. And of the continuation strategies, we have our session continuation strategy using our buy sell indicators. And we have the high low continuation strategy. So what I find challenging is that the high low strategy outside of New York open hours is very tough to do on CFDs, because when you're running the high, on futures, you're getting perfect execution. You get great spreads. On the CFDs, you're like 2-3 wide on the spread. It's a super fast move, and you have to overcome the spread and the speed of the move before you can really take the high lows. So what I found that I traded quite a lot of high lows today. And even though I was sort of right on the direction, the execution was horrible. So I think, I find that from a CFD point of view, the only way I'm going to trade high lows is really during New York market hours, when the possibility of continuity is just so strong that it really creates a terrific opportunity for you to do some continuity trades on high low. Having said this, though, the mean reversion, the scalp trade is effectively a mean reversion trade. Remember, we're always we're going against whatever the prevailing trend is, right? Like you would be a buyer here, right? And so the scalp strategy, to me, the mean reversion strategy, is also very good, because most of the time during Asia and Europe, it's really mean reversion that dominates price action. Even in a downward trend like this, there are these mean reversion stretches that really give you the highest probability of entry. It's not that you can say, well, if you'd entered here, you had 100 points down here. That means you're predicting price, which is impossible to do, in my opinion. Yet, if you knew ahead of time that the Dow fell 200 points, of course you'd have the movement. What we're trying to do is react to price, and reacting to price is a completely different approach and mechanism. And reacting to price actually works much better on a mean reversion basis in the equity market than it does on continuity basis. So what I think is really kind of cool and interesting is when we define the mean reversion structure, right? The way I see it, that I think is sort of interesting, is we're talking about it's got to go touch the upper bone, touch the upper band, then kind of find a green arrow next to a reference point, prior reference point, right? In this case, it obviously breaks the prior reference point quite significantly. And it does so over here as well. Down notwithstanding, the way I see this, that I think is much easier visually to see this, let me see if I can do this in a rectangle, is basically what you need to focus on. And granted, it's not a perfect setup. That's why you have to give it definitely room to slide. What you're really focusing on, you don't need to even worry about it touching the upper end of the moving average, because the very definition of what I'm going to show you, which is that it falls from the outer edge of the moving average, right? It's by definition already, coming back, falling, creating lots and lots of white space. White space means it's really, really stretched away from the moving average, and then creates your first green candle, your first signal candle. That's your entry, right? Now the point is that yes, that entry requires lots of room to breathe. In this case, I don't see how you could trade you have to trade the Dow with a 40 stop to give yourself, maybe 30 stop if you want to do in these kind of parameters. You want to give yourself like a 30 stop to give yourself some room to breathe, because Dow is definitely going to slide back. But if you came in here and you gave yourself 30 stop with the 15 target, you made the target. I mean, it made that wide U. You have to give yourself that room for that wide U, because there's only two scenarios that are going to happen. Either this is just a complete failure and it's going to collapse and fine, you stop yourself out, but most of the time it's going to make that U. Now sometimes that's an early entry to the U, so you are a little bit off sides, and that's why you need that breathing room. Sometimes it's a perfect entry to the U. So if we do the same thing over here, I wonder if I can grab this. Do the same thing over here, and you can see, sort of the same price action. You're coming off the upper moving average, right? And you need obviously a lot of white space. You're not taking any immediate buys underneath here. You want that space to be stretched out. So your first real entry is like around 57 over here. This is on the futures, and it goes 43, it goes 20 points against you. No, well, not almost 20 points against you. So if you're trading 57 to 10 points up, you're like up to 67, 68, right? So 30, 15, 20, 10. The Dow is a tough beast because it really requires like a little bit more of a springboard back to come back. The NASDAQ is an easier, in my opinion, is an easier scalp to make, because it really does bounce back hard whenever you let me delete this. Whenever you have this development. So let me just kind of show you. So here is. So what do we see here? We see price coming off, the upper envelope over here, the upper envelope, right? And you have the green candle here. You're coming in over here, and you're trading just for 5. If you trade for 5 with a 510, you have an excellent possibility for a scalp here, right? Great possibility for scalps. So one scalp to the upside. Same kind of story on the NASDAQ. Let me see if I can grab this. Right over here, same kind of situation. Remember, the way to sort of short circuit visually, so you don't have to worry about writing all the W's mentally in your head, is you just focus on this slice. If the leg, you obviously know you're in a downtrend, right? It's obvious. But if the leg is coming off the highs, then you're just looking for the first green candle, not in white space, not near close by, but in white space. And this is the first candle in white space. 23 goes all the way up to 30, so +5 becomes a great scalp trade. That's the trade you want to make over and over and over again in equities, because even though it's against trend and so on and so forth, that's the trade that has the best logic, structure, and rules to be able to to execute consistently. And that's the visual that I kind of want everybody to focus on as our scalp structure. Okay. So what time we have? It's 9:12. We still got 15 minutes to the open. So we're consolidating near session lows. And also, by the way, this also works obviously super well around session lows, session highs. Session lows, session highs naturally create impediments, especially session lows, because equities are an upward bound instrument. So they always want to bounce off the session lows. Session highs are not necessarily as big a resistance point as session lows are, a support point. So if you can just isolate that, that candle structure that gives you, pull away price action and then the first green candle, then you have a relatively high probability. You have maybe 5 to 8 trades a day in that particular sequence, and you're just trying to make 7 out of 10, ideally 7.5 out of 10 on that structure. And that's where the P&L really comes in handy. The critical thing is just to focus on this one particular structure or the other particular structure, and not get swayed by anything else that's outside the rules, right? I break that rule all the time during Power Hour because I'm just generating trade ideas. But generally, you really want to just execute that one particular trade. For those of you who are really able to milk the trade, sometimes, and quite frequently, more than, sometimes once, but sometimes even twice a day, this particular trade could turn into a much bigger V-shaped rebound, right? And that really gives you huge opportunity for profit if you can just hold on to, to a partial piece of the move. It's just another additional way that you can turn a scalp into a trade, into a position trade. But from our purposes, which is just equal size, equal structure, equal setup, just try to make as many good trades as possible during the day. Then this is a good way of executing it. So is that clear to everybody? Is everybody kind of understanding what I'm doing, and how the visuals set up on all of this? So yeah, the visuals are very clear, right? So the other thing that I wanted to kind of share with you, and I don't know if Karen is in the room or not. Let me see if Karen is in the room, because we had this conversation yesterday. Where's Karen? Karen is not in the room today with us. But we had this conversation yesterday, and it was an interesting conversation. And it was all about, where is the best impulse trade? Where's the best impulse trade? And what I mean by that is, at what time of the day is, the signal from the trend indicator kind of the highest probability, the most accurate, the most likely to show continuation? And honestly, just this is experimental and obviously anecdotal to some degree. The two best signals, in my opinion, are actually sort of like early. So 1900 hours, anytime after 1900 hours, the impulse signal from the trend indicator is usually a pretty good accuracy. And we would have to define pretty good as 3 out of 4, right? So 3 out of 4 days, this gives you the right impulse, is a good one. And I also think that the first indicator after 7 a.m., actually earlier in New York, I didn't quite realize that just how much pre-positioning there happens in the equity market. But that whole 7 a.m. when everybody is on the desk, because remember, all the institutional traders are on the desk at 7 a.m. in New York. That first impulse signal from the 7 a.m. timeframe is also really accurate in terms of on a weekly basis. So let me just, if you guys don't mind, we're not going to have any trades before the market opens because because there's just no point. But let's just let me just walk you through to, I don't know, last week. Okay, let's go to last week. And where am I? 26. Okay, so just bear with me. So here, this is NASDAQ, and we'll just focus on the NAS. A 1020, 1020 signal, 1900 hours. Obviously, this is 1938. So this is the right impulse signal. The short to the downside plus 10. And then we look, this is just Monday. So I literally haven't done this. So it'll be as new to me as it is to you. Here's the buy. So now this is a 636. So this is a little too late. So what I was going to say is you want the signal to be between 7 and 8. Anytime after that, after 8 o'clock, you're already pre-positioned. So in this case, you can't cheat and say, oh, I would have taken a 635. You can't know the past. So we'll have to. So just be one signal here. I'm not gonna take any more. So let's move on to the next day. 1900 hours. Obviously, that's two winning signals in here. Then we look at around the 7 o'clock hour. I mean, this is close enough, but this is 8 o'clock. So between 7 and 8, I'll give myself that. Let's say 10 minutes before 7, if the signal appears, I'm going to take it. So that's 3-0 on the win side. The next day, the next time we're coming in here. So this is, it's unclear how good this signal is. At 82, Well, this is very, very tight volatility. So if you're using 20, so you certainly survive this. Yeah, I guess this worked. This just simply looks ugly because it kind of consolidated, but it's still. So now you're 4-0 on those signals. And now you come back to the 7 o'clock hour, right? And you are, this is a little early. This is 6:30. Unfortunately, here, okay, so you would have to, if you took the 7:30, which is already the secondary one, you get stuffed. The flows were a little bit earlier. They were like at 6:30. So it's 4-1 if you were just kind of following the hardcore example. And then we go. So a little bit here, the trend started a little too early and already by 9 o'clock. I don't want to take a trade. I tried to take between 1900 hours and 2100 hours. So I'd have to, even this trade I would not take because it's too late. The move had happened without the signal. Sometimes the signal comes a little too early, right? And you can't retroactively say, oh, I would have taken the signal, because if you're looking for a signal at 7, this is a little too early. So, okay, we're 4-1. And here we are at the 7 o'clock, 6:25. This is a little early. Here we are at the 7 o'clock hour, and even though this is this looks like it's kind of wild, it actually makes money for you because you're in at 69. It goes up 10 points against you, drops like a stone. So now you're 5-1 on the signals. And then let's just do one more day because I don't want to bore you anymore. And yeah, and here we are between 1900 hours and 2100 hours. It's more or less legitimate. And now you're 7-1, right? And if you wanted to do one more, this is early. This is kind of choppy. So this is 25, 32, 15. It's kind of very, very choppy. And it actually does go to target surviving your stop here. I mean, you could go 8-1. You would give, if you had literally stayed to the trade, but most likely this would be like a scratch. You just probably get out of it even. But still, kind of legitimate. And then finally, I think we have 1900 hours. This is early. So this one gives you the self signal 1900 hours at 66, and that drops nicely to 55. So IC 991. This was a kind of a small impulse. It was a small impulse, and then the trade reversed back to chop. But for all the ones that that you got hosed on, I guess you could take a little bit of credit for that. Regardless, the whole point is you want to be like at 6-2, right? To be positive, and you were like at 9-1. So it's going to degrade. It's obviously going to get to like maybe 9-3 eventually on a half a month basis, but or on a weekly basis. So it's basically, you're looking essentially 2 trades a day. That's 10 trades a week. We just did about a week and 2 days with around 12 trades. It's not bad. I mean, the odds are really, really good. It's a way to do this in a very low stress, low frequency way. And as I said, the whole point is if you run a month, and basically you manage to keep the month. So let's say we have 2 trades a week. That's 10 trades. It's 40 trades. Probably 5 of them don't get done. So it's like 35 trades. And if you are you just need to be net 5 positive on the move. So that would be 35 trades. If you did 10 negatives, 25. Yeah. So yeah, let's just sort of like let's break this down to what I would call a realistic expectation of a trading plan. You have 35 trades because 5 trades are just don't show up. The hours aren't there, the signal isn't there. So you have 40 possible trades, actually 35 actual trades. Of that, 25 trades are winners and 10 trades are losers, right? Now all you are is just net 5 positive for the month. that net 5 positive for the month at like a 1% risk on a 10,000, you're now making 60% a year in a very, very low stress strategy. It's a way to really, really deconstruct the trading plan and trading return into something that you can understand and have a high degree of control over, So I kind of wanted to walk you guys through that while the markets are very slow, and we try to set ourselves up for the day. Any questions? Anything else? Everybody kind of clear on where the the session trade impulse trade is and how it's doing? So remember what I said about highs, lows during the New York Open. That's where I think it's going to be fertile. So if we take out the 15,016s, I think we run to the 15,000s. If we take out the 34,840s in the futures, we probably run to 34,800s in the futures. So I think those are going to be fertile for us if the market decides to kind of dump. Right? Clearly right now they're doing the pre-open pump. But we've seen the pump and dump so many times, especially in NASDAQ, where they pump it and they just completely reverse it down. So I'll be, if we do come down into the session lows at 16, I'll be selling, but only New York session, liquidity moves. And even then, you have to, when you're selling momentum, when you're doing momentum trades, you really need that 20-point buffer to give yourself. Actually, I like the word buffer instead of the word stop, because I think it's a more gentle word, and I think it properly explains what the stop's function should be. It's a buffer to just kind of protect you from noise, and if it's blown, if the buffer is blown, then that's no longer noise, that's signal, and then you should be paying attention to that. What do you guys think about that? We should rename the word stop to the word buffer. Cheryl likes that. I think that's a great way of thinking about it. So we got 3 minutes. I'm just watching price action. Nothing really much going on. We did, I showed you earlier. We did bounce off the lows. That was a nice scalp reversal trade. Dow has just been super quiet. It's been like within a 10-point range here. We have 2 minutes to the open. I'm gonna be really curious to see if they do the pump and dump in the NAS, where they try to push it higher. Although at the same time, while we're trying to, oh shoot, damn it, where's my thing? I lost my. No. Yes. Okay. All right. Oh, I have to, every time I have to reset this. This is so annoying. Okay. So I'm just watching this. So 72 is still, way away from the highs, but they could reverse it. We'll have to see. All right, we're 1 minute away from the open. Let's see what they're going to do at the open. Like I said, if they're going to come down to the lows, I do want to, and they go through the 16s. I want to sell it. Opening bell. A little bit of move. Oh, Dow crashing. Damn it. This is why I hate. Okay, let me see if I can do this. Okay, I got short Dow, and I'm going to just take. Sorry, guys, I can't. This is what I hate about the CFD. You just have to just be super fast on the move. Yeah, you saw it like on the futures that would have been like a 20-point move, but here it got so fast and so and I keeping the platforms back and forth, I have to toggle. That just took me, but whatever. I mean, the idea definitely worked. Let me just watch it again, because if they start breaking the Dow again to the downside, I'll come in. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep my NASDAQ copy of my NASDAQ chart on the other place. So NASDAQ is doing a pump and dump. Now I'm waiting for the NASDAQ. NASDAQ is reversing. Trust me on this. I'm not going to change the. I can't change the screen because I can't. But you can see it over here. It's doing a pump and dump. It's got a frig. Dow. Okay, I sold Dow again, trying to chase it to the downside and take 10 points out of that. Okay, so that was good. At least we made, we made the flow. It's again, my apologies, but it's super hard to trade it. But most of you guys who are much faster, you have like 20, 30 points on that down move. So that was a good move. And NAS is actually going the exact opposite way now, but still very, very far away from session highs. So I'm not chasing it. So now this is the opening, round gambit. Yesterday we kind of tried to trade this. I'm going to try and get much better at trying to trade this. And I kind of screwed up. So I'm only going to just sort of give myself the first push with all of this on the opening round gambit. And then we'll see if we can do some reactive trades. So if you sort of think about it, the high-low are just the continuation trades, and the scalps are kind of price reactive trades, right? Where we're watching how price reacts to the new level, to the establishment of new levels. So we're going to give it a little breathing room here. If you wanted to get super aggressive, you would consider this to be a possible scalp buy, because it's effectively you had a big move down here off the session lows, bounce back. But I've seen this a million times where it may take 3 or 4 candles to consolidate to the bottom. You have plenty of room here, unless this just does a V-shaped run around. It's not worth it. But this would have been a good buy here in the 5s and 6s for now. But let's just I'm going to give it a little bit more breathing room and actually wait for a second. Wait for a green candle here on the Dow as a scalp trade. And it's kind of running away. So that I should have pulled the trigger here. I was a little hesitant, but that was an excellent sort of idea of you established the bottom. You had the green candle. I should have just taken it. My apologies. So I did my high lows, but I didn't quite execute on my scalp trades. But you get the idea. That was the flip side to the other side. I don't know if any of you. Cheryl took 32 on the YM. Good job. Is that on the high low, Cheryl? Can you just type in HL or scalp on the other side? Well, you did the reversal, the high low. Yeah, the high low. I mean, on the futures, that thing just crashed and it was super easy to do. I'm going to be, you know, this is a natural bounce back. Ooh, so I'm watching, just kind of let you guys know. So here we are. See how the NAS is starting to peak and pierce towards the 72s. Now, if the NAS does go through the 72s, I'm going to get long that thing on high lows. Too late to trade this. I would have been a great, this is a great move here, but I'm just, and this is a good example of me. I have this set up and I just hesitated to execute. But that, you know, this would have been a logical entry over here. You had like 30, 40 points on a Dow, super fast. And I guess this is a good example of how we are, you know, we see how our setups work in the first 10 minutes of the marketplace, where it's super hyper fast, and we'll get better at executing those, you know, those parameters. But most importantly, you can just learn how to recognize the pattern really well, and that pattern repeats itself every single day, one way or the other. All right, so interesting. So NAS, now we go the other way. We've seen this so many times where Dow rises, NASDAQ falls, literally almost one for one. It's like, it feels like somebody's doing a pairs trade here. And now the Dow is starting to bounce back off the lows. We're going to watch this again, because now I'm actually kind of interested. So if we make a secondary, the break here is around 83. If we get into the 80, like if we start breaking a secondary low on the Dow, that will be worth maybe another run to the downside. Like, I don't think it's going to, like, if they break the lows here, that's going to be further pain to the downside as we go. NASDAQ is above the session lows and actually trying to see if it can go to session highs on the move here. Wonder what happened? I'm just curious. If I get rid of Market Watch and I get rid of data window, and no, it doesn't make any difference. It just, and I get rid of Navigator. No, it's I get rid of View, Navigator. And we just make this super small. It's just basically an execution window. That may be the right thing for us to do. Let me see if NASDAQ shows up. NASDAQ kind of shows up. Because, you know, we're using the visuals on, I'm just trying to create the easiest environment for us to watch the price action on TradingView, which is obviously so far superior, but execute on MetaTrader, which is obviously superior to this on stuff. I hate the fact that, you know, I think I gotta ask Doug. I think there's a way for me to, so this doesn't show up through the thing. So I'm watching. This is really interesting. I'm watching this because I want to see, like, you know, if this kind of holds, if we somewhere around here we kind of hold and create a green candle, that would be a legitimate double bottom. We might want to trade the Dow to the upside. But let's give it a few seconds here to consolidate. Also, let's watch the possible run of the highs in NAS. Okay, I think this is the best visual situation. At least I can, I'm not going to be late on my reaction time. Oh, let's watch the Dow. I'm watching this. Okay, bouncing back. Let's see how this candle trades. Okay, here it gets interesting. Like, if I can only keep my eye on one, so I'm actually watching the Dow, ignoring the Nasdaq right now, because I want to see if at 47 seconds. If this candle stays green, I got to try to go for it. I'm going to try and go for it, but let's give it a shot. 11, 10. All right, let's get in here. I got paid up. I hate paying up the price, but you have to stay with a 40 stop on this. Otherwise, you're just never going to. Oh, is it going to fake me out? Let's see if it's holding me. Let's see if I can survive. Let's see if my buffer holds. No, my buffer isn't hold. I'm going to close this. I'm going to sell it. And I think it's like I'm getting trapped on both ways. Wow. Okay, let's watch this. Let's watch this candle. This candle has to, if this candle doesn't break the fresh lows, then I want to get out of this candle as well. Uh, this candle holds green. I'm going to reverse. Unfortunately, I'm just going to get whipped out. Yeah, I'm just going to close this out. I'm getting whipped out, but I am going to reverse this. Okay, let's reverse this. And this clearly is trading up now. Again, I chased it up. It's a very, very tough trade here because this is a huge candle on the reversal side. But I got to believe that it's going to be much more likely we see like 30 here in the next few candles. Wow. Just the problem is that so much of the reversal was already in this candle, so it's hard for it to the short covering happened here. So now I'm stuck back again in very very tough action. But I'm going to hold on now because wow, unbelievable. I'm getting whipsawed back and forth here, but as long as this low isn't broken, I'm going to stay on this trade. There's a lot of choppy action here. But let's be patient. Just a horrible entry. I just paid up on the entry here way above, because the entry here would have been fine and you would have easily been able now to run this towards the 20s. But now I'm going to have to just be very patient, see if this thing could actually really run towards the 30s on the move. Sometimes the execution is and I got whipsawed on the execution, so I really screwed it up this morning. But the concepts is what I'm trying to focus on, because there'll be a million days for us to execute better. All right, this is really it looks like it's gonna break the lows for me. It's really testing my patience here. Just saying, bad entry and possibly a clip of the lows here. And if it is, it is. I'm just gonna swallow my my bitter pill today. I'm watching the NAS. See how it's trading here. NASDAQ is starting to go towards the session highs. Let's see what it does at around the 72, 73 level. That's going to be about 83 on the CFDs. All right, I'm going to take 12 on the Dow here, only because I've been nursing this thing for a long time. But it's just, appreciate, and now it's going to, I had a feeling it was going to go for more, and now it really does. But I just wanted to sort of prove that the thesis, which is that we held support, we had these signals. It was just horrible execution. I wanted to just make sure that I at least got something out of this execution. But the thesis of just holding the lows, and then eventually starts to go back up. Anybody who joined me in the trade much later had much better prices and had a chance to really to execute much better than I did. So hopefully some of you guys got that Dow reversal trade. As I survive my buffer. Anybody trade that? Hello? Talk to me, guys. Is everybody watching the screens? Nobody's paying any attention to me. So NAS is sort of, trapped here. And it's interesting because I think it's, it's one of those things where maybe after 10 o'clock, we're going to get a resolution of the move. Good job. Everybody, Cheryl's the only one that Cheryl loves you. Cheryl, you love the Dow, huh? You're like Cheryl loves the Dow. Good for you. What'd you trade on the NAS, Connie? You traded the upside on the NAS? You just traded the momentum? Oh, short. From where? From here, like from when it started to fail? Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I've seen this hesitation in Nasdaq so many days where we have the first half hour nobody wants to make highs lows, and then they start really moving it. So I'm gonna watch it. I'm obviously gonna watch this carefully to see where it goes next. Yeah, I like the NAS too. I'm only doing the Dow because obviously a lot of people on the CFD side trade the Dow. But as you can see, my feel for the Dow is not great. I got badly whipsawed earlier. Was able to kind of recover. Okay, are we getting? How this is the Dow. I'm just watching the Dow. NAS is doing nothing. But having the high-low line is so helpful on TradingView. So helpful in terms of orienting yourself as to whether you should be holding or dying. I mean, if had I held, obviously this would have been a really great trade. I just have zero patience to hold. But the principle of the idea was just really sound. I chased it up over here, came, had flushed me all the way down here, and then because by ringing me over, I had already lost a lot of my appetite for the trade. But the trade itself, had we come in here in the 800s, it was like a 40, 50 point trade here. Again, we're doing the NASDAQ down, Dow up pair trade, which to this day, I still don't understand why there's just like literally no correlate. It's actually anti-correlated now all day long. All right, I'm going to watch this. Let's watch this low. This is now we're really coming. It's hard. It's interesting. They really want to test the lows on NAS. That's a huge dump. We just badly reversed. Let's see if they want to run the lows. And they bounce it back. So no trade here. We'll be a little patient because this could be just the first leg of a sell-off. Let's give it. They could come back and start to batter this. When they batter the NAS to the downside, I mean, I think if they break the lows, they go to 15,000. So this assumes that they do it. But if they don't, they don't. Oh, they V-shaped it for the time being. Look at how much two-way price action there is, just flaring up, flaring down. This is like a continuation trader's nightmare. Wow, that was a big V-shaped reversal. Now it gets interesting. Now I wonder if they're going to, now if they, they try to test the lows. Now I wonder if the buyers are going to come in and try to really squeeze the highs. We'll see. Wow, it's really schizophrenic today. Look at this. Up, down, down, completely up. Still range bound. Nobody can break the range. Dow clearly has a downward, drift here. So let's watch, let's watch how it trades around the lows here. If it does find support again here, it's likely it's going to bounce harder. Oh, we're slow to a crawl here. Nas is starting to do a triple run towards the highs. That's interesting. I mean, this looks like the shorts just got completely hosed, and they're getting short squeezed higher. Let's see if this can run the highs. No. Wow, nice reversal there. Total fake out for the bulls. Well, it looks like the Dow made the lows for the morning. We'll see how it's trading for the rest of the time. But now it's it's on its way to trying to recover the upside trend. Look at these wicks from 64 down to like 41. 20-point ranges for 1 minute. Just a classic August. Nobody knows what they want to do trade. Well, guys, I don't have any intelligent setups. The one trade that thematically worked was the bottom off the Dow, and that's the only one that really really worked for us today. I think we actually had a NASDAQ trade. I forgot where it was, but at the same time, I also got really badly whipsawed on running the lows, running the highs, which is especially with CFD is always really problematic. So we'll keep that in mind. Yesterday, there was a lot of continuity in running the highs, running lows, but that's usually the exception, not the rule. So for us, it's more intelligent to look for reactive trades, even if the first reactive trade is kind of wrong, than try to chase these things. Unless I'm trading futures where I have much better execution. All right. Any final questions? 10-year really bouncing higher. Yeah, I'm not watching the for the 10-year. Yeah, 10-year was like no, yeah, 10-year was 118. Now it's like 117. Wow. I'm looking at NAS coming into the downside here. All right, let's hang and watch what this thing does. It still doesn't look like we have a lot of momentum here. It just looks like we're shoveling back and forth in very, very sloppy range trade here. Wow, we are 195, 97 points higher than we were over here. Had we held this and just held a stop or held our buffer, this would have been a really, really nice reversal trade. It's good. It's a good point to remember that, like, I remember Linda Rashke saying this in her webinar, that a lot of times, once you start if you've made the lows and they haven't pierced it, that's pretty much either the lows of the day or at least the lows for the next 2 or 3 hours, and it gives you a tremendous amount of possibility, because you're entering over here and you can milk the second half of the trade for a much longer position. I'm watching NAS here. This is definitely, it looks like a double bottom, but I really, really don't like the way this is trading. It feels more like it's going to break it than bounce back. Like, it's not a horrendous idea to take it, but if I'm going to do it, I probably should do it in smaller size. All right, I'm going to buy this for possible 5. Wow, look at the spread on this thing. It's what a bad spread I had here. All right, I'm going to take just 3 on my validation of my double bottom here. It's actually, it would have worked okay, but it's such a sloppy trade today that whatever we can do, you try to do the best in the situation. So here, you clearly saw the double bottom, but it was, as I was concerned, that it was just going to be very, very sloppy. It looks like they really, really want to run the lows here. I think that story is not over yet, so we'll watch it. I mean, if they can hold this for the next half an hour, it's very likely they're going to run the whole thing to the top side. But I still think that this is vulnerable to the downside break, so that's why I was a little careful. But if you bought that was definitely good for 3 to 5 points to the top side if you played it. Anybody took the what did Powell say? I didn't. Was there news on Powell right now? Is that why we sold off? I mean, it's definitely it really acts like the price action that's being driven by very schizophrenic news flow, because there's clearly no positioning. Nobody really has any confident posture here as far as which way the price wants to go. No control. But as I said, the reversal pattern is the dominant pattern in equities on an intraday basis, and we have the right way of looking at it. So we took the NAS to the reversal side, not beautiful but good enough. We took the Dow, not beautiful but good enough. The continuation patterns today were blasé, and I still think that really the best continuation patterns for us are going to be in those session impulse patterns, because the high lows are a real challenge, especially on a CFD basis. Oh, Clarida was mentioning raising rates in 2022. It was Clarida. Okay, yeah. We'll see about that. I'm not holding my breath. Watch the NAS though. I mean, we held the bottom 3 times here. If they really want to rip it, this is 10 to 11 o'clock in the morning to 11:30. this is when they want to rip it. If they want to take it to fresh highs, that is worth chasing. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Right now, it's just a pure zigzag pattern. So, all right, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for hanging out with me. I did make a few of them back on the last couple of trades, but it was definitely a whipsaw morning, chasing highs and lows, which is like another really good lesson that, if we're going to chase the highs and lows, I think the rule should be only NASDAQ, because the Dow is just too, like it'll touch it and then come back up 30, 40 points and come back down. There's just not enough continuity. There's not enough tripping of stops here. But, we played it okay. All right, everybody have a great, great day. I'll let you guys know what's going on for the rest of the day. I'll see you guys tomorrow.